Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Big&Blue, just call me Blue, it's fine. So I have many questions, and I love facts. So today I thought, why not try to answer some facts with me, and hopefully learn something along the way. So I recently watched Supergirl, which was the second movie in the DCU, and like a sequel to Superman. And I love both movies, I thought it was really good. And I was thinking about capes, and wondering what they are. Like, what's the point of it? I know in superhero media, it's made usually for a flashy tone, but what is the purpose? And more importantly, were capes invented for superheroes? I don't think they were. I'm pretty sure they're invented for something else, but I can't really pinpoint what that thing is. Like, I can't think or like visualize who invented capes and for what. I'm pretty sure some kings and queens wore capes, but then again, what was the point of wearing a cape? So I think that's the first fact I want to actually answer today. Who made capes and why? Let's see. Okay, so I did a bit of research and I found some things. Firstly, the word cape seems to come from the Latin word capa, which here it says it's from the word escape or to develop yourself, but in other sources, they say it's actually more from the word hood, which I guess in the end is very similar to each other. It's the idea that like a cape can envelop you and make you seem unseen, and therefore you can like slip away, I guess. But I tried to find who invented capes, and there doesn't seem to be a very concrete answer on that. We know that capes became very popular around like the Roman times, and the main reason why was because of like just temperature. Capes seem to be a way for people to keep warm, especially in like colder climates, and especially capes that were a lot more enveloping. For example, when Roman leaders were used to wear capes, they were a lot more clothing like. For example, they were not just like on your back, they were all around your body, which kept you warm. But I can't seem to find one source which tells you the originator of who made capes. I guess the reason why is because it really depends on what you mean by cape. Like I said, there's a modern idea which is more like on your back. Then there's like capes that are more enveloping. And even like other cultures, there are like similar ideas to capes. Even among different cultures, you can see that the idea of a cape has been around like all over the world, which makes sense, obviously. The idea of a cape is something that you'd think people would invent eventually as a way to keep yourself warm pretty easily. But I do find interesting how it's something that you can find all over the world, no matter where you're from. And I guess nowadays, capes are a bit more outdated because we have better ways of keeping ourselves warm, with like coats and boots. But there is a sense of fashion when it comes to cloaks. Medieval kings used to wear them for fashion. They were seen as like a symbol, I guess. It made you seem just more important to have one. And I think nowadays it's become a lot less popular. You don't see someone wearing a cape nowadays, like in public. The only time I see someone wear a cape is during a ceremony that's supposed to be a celebration of the past. So, as unsatisfying as it is to say, there doesn't seem to be a singular inventor of the cloak or the cape. They seem to be a creation that comes by every single society eventually. Which I think is another very interesting point. How independently different societies can invent very similar things. It's something you see not that often, but shockingly often, which now makes me curious about that. I'm curious about simultaneous invention and what causes it. But if I'm looking for one specific fact about simultaneous invention, it would be specifically, is there a reason why it happens? And what is the most unique invention of this phenomenon? Okay, so I'll do a little research. Okay, so I did a bit of research and I found some very interesting things. For the first question, I found that the most interesting simultaneous invention ever made was a telephone. I mean, there are others, obviously, but I think for me it's the most interesting. There are several people who made it at the same time, but the one who won the patent war was, of course, Bell. And there were several inventors too, which again kind of makes me wonder about the larger question. What causes these inventions to happen all at the same time? Well, the answer seems to be pretty, not mundane, but what you'd expect. The reason why is fields, whether it be science or art or anything else, are a shared field. People tend to share their findings with others. Therefore, if everyone has the same amount of information and the same amount of resources, whether it be metal or power, it stands to reason that some people would eventually invent similar things. Not because there's like a magical force happening, but mainly because when everyone has the same information, people are bound to come to the same conclusion eventually. Which brings me to another very important point. Are inventions inevitable? By that I mean, what this shows us is that some things are bound to eventually come into light eventually. Like if someone didn't invent calculus, someone else would eventually do it by themselves. Which again makes me wonder, are inventions a linear path? Like a tree branch in a video game? Are we inevitably going to reach that point? Not because those things are bound to happen, but because since there are many of us who are just inventing at the same time, even if half of them don't make it, the other half could eventually invent that thing they need to invent. I know I'm being kind of vague here, but the reason why I think it's really interesting is because when I think of like what if situations, of what if this person didn't invent that thing, the idea is that one person was inherently equipped to invent that technology. And without them, we wouldn't be where we are right now. For example, if the guy who didn't make cars, then it would never like happen, quote unquote. But this shows us that maybe that's not the case at all. Perhaps even if certain inventions were not made in a specific time, they would eventually arise by someone else. It may not be exactly the same, but if the invention has a need and a fan base, in a way, it's kind of inevitable that it would eventually be made by someone else. When I think of that, it makes me think about AI a little bit and how I keep hearing that AI is the quote unquote our invention of fire. And it makes me wonder, is that even true? Is AI this inevitability to happen? I'm curious about this mainly because I know how much AI has negatively affected the world right now. And one of the big reasons why many AI companies say they're doing what they're doing is not out of profit but security. For instance, one of OpenAI's main thrusting promises is that they want to invent safe AI for the world because they know that the tech could be made by someone else. And as much as I do think that AI could be useful in some ways, like in medical fields, I do think that there are many ways it's just not. For instance, how AI tends to be used by corporations to destroy art or destroy artists. I don't think that was inevitable either. I think that's just corporate greed. But yeah, I think that that's everything. Sorry if it was very long. I guess we went under a pretty long rabbit hole, but I hope you enjoyed it. I do want to make more of these like rabbit hole interesting facts videos because I find them like really fun to make. So if you have like one question you want to ask and I can like fact check it, ask me in the comments and I'll do it for you. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.